Well, here we go. The last review of the year. What an absolutely spectacular year it has been for Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, for all markets, and for trading in general. And let's look forward to an amazing year to come. Total market cap, we're looking at the quarterly. This is going to be a fantastic quarterly close. Quickly, the yearly as well. So, on a high time frame, this is going to be absolutely spectacular what price does. 2016, I mean, TradingView doesn't have the older history, but this is the 2014 high essentially. And once we closed above this, you can see what the next year brought. So on a high time frame, very bullish, guys. Just a quick look at the weekly. On the weekly time frame as well, we have on the total market cap the highest ever weekly close. Uh, Essentially, what price can do from here is uh, only negated by certain other factors. In terms of a weekly time frame, very quickly going to look at the RSI. So RSI comparison on the weekly, this is so bullish, guys. Okay, it is oversold, it's stretched, and you can call it all of that, but this is really bullish for the RSI to be so high up, because what happens is you can see the last couple of times when RSI was hitting these levels, what price eventually did. This is the last time when the RSI was at these levels, Jan 2017, and you know what we did in 2017. So essentially, there is potential whenever the pullback comes. It's just a lot of FOMO that's going to be created. So logically, what makes sense is for price to move up so high that to many people even the pullback seems expensive. That's the kind of scenario we are in right now. So we're going to look at the BTC chart to understand what kind of prices and what should we be looking at in the near term. But outside of that, this was a significant level for us. The total market cap has closed above the highest weekly, so it does suggest there still may be potential for another leg up. How far up we have to see, and we have to project that using the BTC chart. But for now, very positive on the high time frames. For odds against BTC, what we're looking at is the DeFi index. And essentially, why I'm looking at DeFi is because this is the hottest thing in town, right? So this is why we're looking at the DeFi index. And what does it reflect? It just reflects it is still in the part and still in the process of its market cycle. So for odds against BTC, what I would suggest is to be pretty careful with what you choose, and look at individual names and be able to get strength. If there's coins like ZIL and Theta, they're doing really well against BTC. So you choose individual coins, because if you're leaving your capital stuck in a lot of altcoins, you're missing out on these big gains that you potentially have for the BTC move. And what is to say that this entire market cycle, it could take some time. Even if this, I had shown that this potentially could be an anger bounce. Even if this is an anger bounce, we could get a full depression move all the way through next year, and essentially get a markup maybe the end of the year. And this would be like BTC just ripping all through next year. It is still a possibility. Of course, we do have that potential of once BTC breaks all-time high and you have a narrative of huge alt season, you can allow it to prove itself, because you don't want to be that person who has been in crypto all this while, but you have not spread your capital enough to be taking advantage of this big move in BTC. Because we have two sample sizes. What do those two sample sizes prove? That it can also be, if Bitcoin continues to remain impulsive, that it just goes on its own. So just keep that in mind, guys, and just don't be overexposed. Look at individual names. There's still some out there that are just doing great. So just keep this in mind. Very different picture for the altcoin market cap. Here's the yearly candle, though it does look like a lot of progress, because we opened near the 50 million and we are close to 220 million. Just this drop in 2017 was so deep that even if this market has made good progress, we're still below significant resistance levels. Same thing on the quarterly. And if you look at the monthly, this has been what we've been looking at, the key resistance level. We essentially have 3 days to see if we can close above this. It's not impossible, but keep an eye out on this or at the end of the month. For the weekly, we are still in that sideways. There is signs of exhaustion here, but until price does start to consolidate again, it is going to be opinions and not facts what we're talking about, because we have made this big move, we are consolidating, there are potential signs of exhaustion, but on the daily what we're doing is we just have a range. If you do know, following me and on Twitter, and you have you're on the Discord as well, I did end up building a range right here. Sorry, I'm just looking for. Yep. So I did end up building a range right here. So we are at close to the 0.75 of this range. Currently getting a rejection from this daily level. What I would say is that there is some kind of a potential. I had drawn a squiggly for the people in the Discord, some kind of potential of a pullback, and if BTC has to make that next leg up, we can still get, move all the way to the top, even maybe a deviation, and then get what BTC's correction would do. Essentially, I think the correlation could remain, but that is something for us to see. And if it does happen, then we could come and correct all the way down to the bottom of this range, possibly even a deviation below. If that happens, this is going to be a great big time buy, so this could end up leading to a trap. What I would say is you want a confirmation for upside, and you want price to start finding support at the top of this range, essentially, which coincides with this key monthly level, because you can see price has not been able to close any daily candles above this key monthly level. So if you do end up seeing that and we can start finding support above this, I think we can look for bullish scenarios on the altcoin market cap. But until then, I think this market is consolidating below resistance, and considering the inefficiencies we have here, that is the only reason that I have created a scenario where we could look for potentially price to revisit these lows before going for the big move, because if you're looking for a base, guys, if you're looking for a very strong move from here, need a powerful base. A move like this, it does leave a lot to it does leave a lot of weakness from which to build a big move. It could still happen, and we could build a base higher up, and this would be significant if price does end up building a base up here, which would be really bullish. But if we do have to, this would be most ideal to come back down and create strength from these inefficient levels. From once the market does come here and starts basing here, this would be also a great place not only to manage risk, but so significant for that next big powerful move up, because it is going to happen, guys. It's just a matter of time. This is a naked chart for today's BTC analysis. It's along with the Mayer multiple, because I think this is what is going to give us a hint of significant resistance levels. You can look at how clean the support and resistance levels on this are. We got a perfect reaction from the lower resistance level, which was close to about 60%. Now we're heading into the extreme 100% level, which we only visited a couple of times in 2017, a quick one time in 2019 as well. So if we are looking at those levels, how much higher are they, and what is significantly possible? We're looking at something like 2017, that is still another 17% higher. And if we are thinking this 2017 top where it is, that is still another 30% higher. So essentially 17% higher could still take us easily to 30 to 32,000. 30% higher could take us to 35,000. And the logic that I was talking to you about the dip being too expensive, too expensive to get. Essentially, if you look at, if price does end up getting to 35k, you get a dip from there all the way down even to all-time high is a very very big correction, you know. So we have to see what price ends up doing. For now, there are a couple of metrics that can give us some hints over the next couple of days. I'll just quickly discuss those. On-chain analysis has become as important as it ever has been, and essentially the important metrics that we need to look at is how much Bitcoin is leaving the exchanges, how much Bitcoin is coming onto the exchanges, and how much of the stable coins are being printed to meet with this supply. You know, just simple supply and demand basics. You know, how much supply is coming in, how much demand is there. Is there more demand than supply, and what are the hints that we need to understand that? So what we are looking at over here is the total outflow for Coinbase. You know, this is a daily outflow, and essentially why we're looking at this, first of all, looking at institutions. They're American institutions. OTC deals mean that, you know, coins have to be bought to then be further transferred for the OTC deals. So what you can see is these big spikes. You know, this is in terms of thousands of BTC, 20,000 BTC right here, and you can see 22, 23,000. So you can see how much institutional, if you think the institutions were buying up here while price is going up here, yes, they are buying up here as well, but you can see how much buying was going on June, July, August, September, October. They were already buying down here, guys. You know, many of them are announcing much later, but you would know that institutions are already way up. You know, a lot of them have the average price around this 12 to 14k. You know, so they are still already up big time. But what we want to see is that if you do see another spike, if we see price consolidating here again, you do see another big spike up, then you can know that, you know, there is still big accumulation going on and there is potential for this to carry on. Another thing we need to see is that, yes, this is what's reflecting the demand, right? And here we're looking at the inflow. So you see all that outflow that's going on in Coinbase. They are still entities that have held BTC for, you know, since the early 2013 2014 days, and they're the ones who are selling at these prices here. So you can see these are the inflows. This is a pretty big exchange inflow right here. It's even higher. This is the 7-day moving average of the exchange inflows, and you can see that, you know, we are still getting more exchange inflows because people, you know, they are either expecting price to be dropping from here, or, you know, it's just reaching a price where, you know, they find it fair to be able to sell some. So with this even increased exchange inflow, there has been enough demand for price to carry on. And for that, a metric we can look at quickly is the stablecoin market cap. And this is what we're looking at is the USDC, and we're looking at the Tether Ethereum, you know. And look at this, you know, while price was flat over here, you saw all those exchange outflows in Coinbase. And this is USDC, the dark blue. So much USDC was getting printed because this is the institutions entering, guys. Just this from August all the way to October, lot of institutions just entering. USDC market cap increasing, I think, almost threefold, you know, just over these 3 months. And what happened? You know, price went up. We got another bunch of sideways. USDC was flat since a while, you know, so it did seem like, you know, is there enough dollar coming in? And what do we get in this sideways that we had from November to mid-December? We got more inflows again. This is institutions, Tether and USDC both. So again, now we are at a place where there is potential for some kind of a consolidation. Just watch these inflows, you know. If this carries on, then you can know Bitcoin can hit those higher Mayer multiple targets that we were looking at. So simple supply and demand mechanics. Now we have the tools to look at it and watch it in real time, which is just fantastic as retail traders of this unbelievable asset. Looking at the dollar index right here, the chart I discussed last week as well, when the RSI reached extreme levels, what price did? We had a month and a half, 50 days of consolidation before continuation. So what is price doing right now? We have had more stimulus news, so we got that initial bounce, and ideally what the dollar could do, and this is still just a possibility, we could come down and create a daily divergence and get that consolidation. So this is something that I am open to, and this is something that's possible, because you have to know, all right, this is very crowded trade, everybody is shorting the dollar, but the markets are efficient. A lot of times the news is priced in. The fact that there was going to be more money getting printed, it is known to the entire market. So once the news is out, the retail could still end up trading it, and this next move down could end up being a trap, and we could get an actual short squeeze, and that is essentially what would lead to not only big volatility but also a correction in most of the markets. So I would say, rather than looking at all the markets, I think this is the driving force currently for all markets, and this is the most important chart to be paying a lot of attention to. So I think for today, I don't need to be charting everything else. We have been looking at commodities as well, but everything is going to react if this does end up creating a divergence, because we've had that news of stimulus and more stimulus. It's all out. In case that is priced in, just watch out for that daily divergence and then a short squeeze, but essentially still just a consolidation. There is no proof that there is going to be some kind of a reversal at these levels.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and go ahead and share it with someone else. And if you have any questions about what we covered today, please leave them in the comments and I will be sure to get back to you or answer them in my next video. For more trading content and education, go ahead and click on the video on your right. Thanks for watching, guys, and cheers!